Guys, Caleb's Cards here. Long time not actually seen me. I finally got a new computer and it comes with its own camera and it so far looks pretty good. So you have to tell me what you think. My sister bought me a new microphone, so hopefully um, that sounds a little better. So we'll see. We'll see how that sounds. But I wanted to do something I haven't done in a while, and that was reading through some of the World War II letters and the kind of the stories about them. Um, Usually I do it on Wednesdays, so today is Wednesday, so it's perfect. And I picked out, I actually grabbed four because two of them are shorter and the other two are longer. So I thought we would read through them. And what I'll try and do is see if I can still insert like a picture of the actual letters. You can see it rather than me just reading it. So see if we can make the videos a little more interesting. But I hope you guys will enjoy trying to bring back the series again. I have a whole stack of them I need to go through. So we'll see how this works and give it a shot. So this first gentleman we're going to be covering, it's actually 2 pages worth, is Mr. Ken Sway. He's a Canadian World War II veteran. And he does have a website blog. I don't know for sure if he's still living because he was born in 1921 in East York, Ontario. Um, so he would be, going on 102, if not 102 already. But if he is, that'd be really cool. So I'll put a link to his blog below if you want to see it, and maybe there's still some older blogs as well up there. But as a teenager, he began working for Weston's Bread as a delivery man in Toronto. And in December 20th, 1944, North Italy, NCO Ken May, or May, I'm sorry, not Sway, um, Ken May waited patiently while the higher officers sorted the men into position for a midnight attack. Despite the time of year, the weather was warm. Ken was part of the Perth Regiment in the Canadian military. His brother Don was in the Irish Regiment. There was a third regiment on the field as well during battle. The three regiments often worked side by side, leapfrogging over one another. Ken stepped forward, accepting combat of the two Piat crews he had been assigned. Projector infantry anti-tank crews were used to, that's what Piat stands for, projector infantry anti-tank, were used to clear houses and attack enemy tanks. The three-man crews had to get dangerously close to their targets to take them out. Usually Ken's crews were using 6-pound guns. The Piat crews moved into formation behind the company, which consisted of mainly marching men. Ken had not really wanted to lead a Piat crew on this night. His crews had another Piat crew in front of them, putting them fairly far from the front. As they advanced, Ken noted that the moonlight was exceptionally bright. Had he been anywhere else, it would have felt almost romantic. The bullet ripped through the muscles in Ken's leg, and he hit the ground as quickly as he could. We walked right into an ambush, Ken said. The whole lead platoon were killed. It was just killed and wounded all the way back. They dissolved the whole company that night. There wasn't enough left to do anything with. That's how badly we got hit. Laying on the ground in a ditch with a few other men, Ken felt another bullet go through his right shoulder, another up his spine, and another in his left hip. He was not yet too worried as none of the bullets were near his heart. A few minutes later his left hand went numb and so he began to shake it, thinking he had it poorly positioned and would be able to restore circulation. When he looked down, his jacket was red with blood. 2 additional bullets had gone through his arm. Um, Shattering his radius. In the next second, Ken froze as the wind whispered above his ear. A bullet went through the brim of his steel helmet, leaving a hole, but did not hit him. Thankfully, artillery support arrived then. The 25-pound guns landed a direct hit on the machine gun nest, which was manned by 2 young Nazis who had been left behind the larger force. Through all this chaos, Ken's brother Don tried to find him, even as he leapt over bodies on his way forwards to fight. The two brothers did not end up meeting on the battlefield, however, both survived. Ken was shot 7 times that night. Wow. When the shooting died down, he cried out of the ditch he and some of the men had taken shelter in and began to crawl back towards the base. He attempted to help another soldier. Ken pulled the soldier along, but the other soldier completely collapsed after several feet, and Ken could not move him. He had to go on alone. After a while, Ken could not crawl any further, so he walked despite the greater risk of being shot. I was staggering pretty good, and a couple guys saw me. They took Ken to the front advanced dressing station, which did not have doctors but had medics. They began to cutting Ken's clothes off. When they saw his bag, they said he was too wounded for them, that he would have to go to the closest temporary hospital. He was loaded onto a carrier, which was like a mini tank. He can remember thinking that he made an easy target laying out in the open. He was then transferred to a better hold car and continued to the hospital on the front line. He was only to stay the night before being transferred further back. The hospital had once been an Italian military barracks, and so there were 50 people in one room, with rows on each side. At one point, there was 3 doctors standing at the foot of my bed, and they're trying to decide whether they're going to cut my hand off or not. The 2 bullets that had gone through Ken's forearm had shattered his radius, and they were concerned about the wound being infected. Dr. Ganshorn did not agree with his colleagues. Thanks to him, Ken kept his hand. Ken stayed at the makeshift hospital for 3 weeks under the careful eye of Dr. Ganshorn. The two chatted frequently during this time, telling tales of home. Ken regained almost full use of his right hand, which surprised Dr. Ganshorn immediately. Eventually, Ken was scheduled to be sent back to England on a hospital ship. The first ship took him from Rome, Italy, to a hospital on the Adriatic coast. There he waited 3 days for another, faster ship to take him to England, a Norwegian luxury liner converted into a hospital ship. Picked them up. Ken was scheduled to sail back to Canada when the war was suddenly ended. VE Day, that was the day we were supposed to get on a ship to come home. Everything died, everything stopped, and nothing happened. We saw more people on the street than I'd seen all the time I was in England. They were all celebrating, and I can understand why. Ken got on the ship, headed home the next day. While standing on the stern of the ship, he began speaking with another soldier. By chance, they were both from East York, Ontario, and had lived only 2 blocks from one another. They were almost instantly best friends and remained so throughout the years. Today, Ken is 101 years old. He recently finished writing his memoirs and is awaiting their publication. He enjoys talking to people and is well known for his friendliness in Kawartha Lake's retirement residence in Bobcaygeon, Ontario, where he lives. So, wow. And then he's still, even after being shot and several times, still try to get others out. Um, wow, that's quite some valor right there. So, very interesting story there, Mr. Ken May. Definitely, again, go check out his blog down below. I'm going to try and put that link down below. And also, the person I'm getting these through and is helping me is Scott Masters. He is a history teacher, or history professor, I guess I should say, at Crestwood Preparatory College in Ontario, Canada. And what he's been trying to do is get as many, especially World War II, but as many veterans' stories um, written down or verbally um, uh, recorded, however way he can, just to get their stories, and they're always preserved for others to hear. So it's really cool. So his link will also be down below as well as the Veterans Breakfast Club, which is where I met him through. These next 2 are shorter ones. We don't have much on them, but we do have their signatures and their pictures. This is Mr. Hugh B. Patterson. He was the 2nd Canadian Infantry Division in the Royal Canadian Corps of Signals. So pretty cool there. Getting his picture signed there, and he sent that to me. So that's really cool. And then we have, this one doesn't have a picture, but they did send a little letter. This is Bunny Bergstein. And he is a veteran of the Royal Canadian Air Force. My position was that of a radar operator. The equipment I worked on was secret at that time during the Second World War, similar to what England successfully used during the Battle of Britain. Thank you for your interest, Bunny Bergstein. So, very cool. So those are the 2 shorter ones. And then I have a little bit longer one here. This is Art Boone. And he also does have a website link, and his signature's down below there, that I can also put in here. So World War II veteran Art Boone on the importance of Remembrance Day is what the article is about. So Art Boone was 15 when he signed up to join the Canadian Army, 17 when he was sent to the United Kingdom for training, and 18 when he landed on the beaches of Normandy, France on D-Day. Boone says he will mark Remembrance Day by remembering people lost during the war, including a man who worked alongside him in a tank. End quote. I happened to be the first guy to get out to help him after he got out of the tank, and I think of him always on that day. And my father, who was a veteran of World War I and World War II, and one uncle I had killed in Italy, Boone said. Boone joined the Canadian Army in 1940 and trained in London, Kitchener, Listowel, Camp Borden, near Barry and Petawa before he went to the United Kingdom in 1942. His regiment was chosen to be part of the D-Day landing in France on June 6, 1944. We went out into the channel and we were moving very slowly in convoy with all the other ships. All I could see was ships. In the days after the landing, he said he and others became used to the sound of shells and bombing. You would hear shells coming in. If you could still hear them in the area, you knew you were all right. It's the ones that you couldn't hear that you had to worry about. He was injured in the Battle of the Scheldt Estuary in Belgium when his tank was hit by a German shell and his right thumb was severely damaged. He also suffered burns. That's what the staff did, and he says while he still has problems with his thumbs to this day, he was still able to play hockey and baseball. He even played on the Canadian Forces All-Star hockey and baseball teams that toured through Europe. So we also have technically a sports star here. So very cool. And he wrote all the best in 2023, Arthur H. Boone, Canadian veteran, World War II. So again, very cool. There's his picture. So he joined young. Obviously, he didn't go into battle yet. They waited till he was 18, but he got that preparedness uh, ahead of time. So very cool to learn about some. Um, with me being American, obviously, I wouldn't know much about uh, Canadian military or United or UK or any of the other countries that also were in the conflict. But it's very cool to get these stories and learn more about them and include them into the World War II project slash collection and then come on here and share it with you. So I do hope you all enjoyed listening to these stories and about these men. I hope to try and do another video for you. We'll pick another 3 or 4 next Wednesday and uh, read through them and try and catch up on the ones I've gotten in because these came in last year. So, and I think I opened them all up around Christmas time. So, thank you everybody so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Let me know what you think. And if you want this series to continue, definitely it always helps to drop a like. Gets those videos seen more by others, especially when you comment and like and share around. So that always helps. And just appreciate you taking time to watch my videos. So talk to you guys all later. All right, bye.